Question 1. Governance review demonstrates that the American Musical and Dramatic Academy's admissions department has been using promotional materials that highlight the success of a small percentage of alumni in securing high-profile roles, while omitting data on the broader career paths and employment rates of the graduating class. Additionally, some faculty profiles in these materials may be perceived as overstating their active professional engagement in the industry. Which of the following represents the most ethically sound and professionally responsible approach for the Academy moving forward? Option A. Update faculty profiles to more accurately reflect their current professional activities and revise alumni success stories to include a broader range of career achievements beyond just major performance roles. Option B. Focus marketing efforts on the unique artistic training provided, downplaying specific employment statistics and faculty credentials to avoid potential misinterpretations. Option C. Continue using existing materials, but instruct the admissions team to verbally provide more context and disclaimers to prospective students during information sessions. Option D. Immediately cease using all current promotional materials and conduct a comprehensive review to ensure all claims regarding alumni success, faculty qualifications, and program outcomes are factually accurate, transparent, and representative of the student experience. The correct answer is D. Immediately cease using all current promotional materials and conduct a comprehensive review to ensure all claims regarding alumni success, faculty qualifications, and program outcomes are factually accurate, transparent, and representative of the student experience. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario is professionally challenging because it requires balancing the Academy's commitment to artistic development with the need for clear, ethical communication regarding admissions. Misrepresenting program outcomes or faculty qualifications can lead to significant reputational damage, legal challenges, and a breach of trust with prospective students and their families. The pressure to attract applicants can create an environment where embellishment is tempting, making adherence to truthful representation paramount. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves a thorough and transparent review of all marketing materials and admissions information to ensure factual accuracy and avoid misleading statements. This aligns with ethical principles of honesty and integrity in all professional dealings, particularly when dealing with educational institutions and prospective students. Specifically, it upholds the implicit promise of accurate representation of educational offerings and faculty credentials, which is a cornerstone of responsible academic marketing and admissions practices. This approach prioritizes student welfare and informed decision-making. Incorrect approaches analysis. Misrepresenting the success rates of graduates by selectively highlighting exceptional cases without providing context or overall statistics is ethically unsound and potentially misleading. This fails to offer a realistic picture of career outcomes for the majority of students. Exaggerating the qualifications or professional experience of faculty members, even if they have some relevant background, constitutes a misrepresentation of the Academy's teaching resources. This can lead students to enroll based on an inaccurate perception of the caliber of instruction they will receive. Downplaying the rigor or specific demands of the curriculum to make it appear more accessible or less challenging than it actually is can lead to student dissatisfaction and attrition. This misrepresents the educational experience and can result in students being unprepared for the realities of the program. Professional reasoning. Professionals in educational admissions and marketing should adopt a decision-making process that prioritizes transparency, accuracy, and student welfare. This involves establishing clear internal guidelines for marketing and admissions communications, conducting regular audits of all published materials, and fostering a culture where ethical considerations outweigh recruitment pressures. When in doubt about the clarity or accuracy of a statement, the default should be to err on the side of caution and provide more, not less, truthful and contextualized information. Question 2. Benchmark analysis indicates that applicants to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy entrance exam are evaluated on their ability to demonstrate foundational performance skills and interpretive depth. An applicant is preparing their audition monologue and song. Which of the following approaches to selecting these pieces would best align with the likely assessment criteria of the AMDA entrance exam? Option A. Select a monologue and song that showcase strong technical proficiency, clear character development, and a compelling emotional arc, demonstrating a thoughtful interpretation of the material. Option B. Choose a monologue and song that are currently trending in popular musical theater, regardless of whether they fully align with the applicant's personal strengths or interpretive capabilities. Option C. Select a monologue and song that are familiar and comfortable, even if they do not push the applicant's boundaries or showcase their full range of potential. Option D. Opt for a monologue and song that are technically very challenging, but may not offer significant opportunities for emotional expression or character exploration. The correct answer is A. Select a monologue and song that showcase strong technical proficiency, clear character development, and a compelling emotional arc, demonstrating a thoughtful interpretation of the material. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires an applicant to demonstrate not only artistic talent, but also an understanding of the foundational principles of musical and dramatic performance as they relate to the American Musical and Dramatic Academies, AMDA, entrance exam framework. The challenge lies in discerning which approach best reflects a commitment to rigorous study and a foundational understanding of the craft, as implicitly assessed by the exam's design. Careful judgment is required to select an approach that aligns with the expectations of a professional training institution. The correct approach involves selecting a piece that showcases technical proficiency and a clear understanding of the character's emotional arc and dramatic intent. This is justified because AMDA entrance exam, as a benchmark for professional training, seeks candidates who can demonstrate not just raw talent, but also the ability to interpret and convey complex emotions and narratives through performance. A well-chosen piece that allows for nuanced interpretation and technical control directly addresses the core competencies AMDA aims to cultivate. This approach signals to the admissions committee that the applicant has engaged thoughtfully with the material and understands the demands of dramatic and musical storytelling. An incorrect approach would be to select a piece solely based on its popularity or perceived difficulty, without considering its suitability for demonstrating interpretative skill or technical control. This fails to meet the implicit regulatory expectation of the exam, which is to assess a candidate's readiness for rigorous professional training. Choosing a piece that is technically overwhelming or lacks substantial dramatic content suggests a superficial understanding of performance and a potential lack of self-awareness regarding one's strengths and weaknesses. Another incorrect approach would be to prioritize a piece that is overly simplistic or does not allow for significant emotional expression. This approach fails to demonstrate the depth of understanding and interpretive capability that AMDA seeks in its students. It suggests a lack of ambition or an inability to engage with material that requires a more profound connection to character and narrative. A further incorrect approach would be to select a piece that is not age-appropriate or does not align with the applicant's current developmental stage as a performer. While not explicitly stated as a regulatory failure, this demonstrates poor judgment and a lack of understanding of how to present oneself effectively within the context of an entrance exam. It can signal a disconnect between the applicant's aspirations and their current capabilities, which is a critical factor in assessing suitability for professional training. The professional decision-making process for similar situations involves a thorough self-assessment of one's technical skills, interpretive abilities, and understanding of dramatic text. Applicants should research the institution's stated goals and values and select material that best showcases their strengths in alignment with those expectations. It requires a strategic approach to material selection, prioritizing pieces that allow for a demonstration of both technical mastery and profound emotional connection, rather than simply choosing what is popular or perceived as difficult. Question 3. Risk assessment procedures indicate that prospective students applying to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy may present with varying levels of understanding regarding the demands and realities of a professional performing arts career. When asked about their primary motivation for pursuing intensive training at AMDA, which of the following responses best reflects a mature and ethically sound approach to artistic development and career aspiration? Option A. A deep-seated desire to hone my craft through rigorous training, to explore diverse artistic expressions, and to develop the resilience and discipline necessary to navigate the complexities of the performing arts industry, with the ultimate goal of contributing meaningfully to the art form. Option B. The aspiration to become a celebrity and to experience the glamorous lifestyle associated with it, viewing AMDA as a necessary but perhaps tedious step in achieving that personal goal. Option C. The belief that attending AMDA will quickly lead to fame and fortune, as I am confident in my natural talent and expect to be discovered by major talent agents shortly after graduation. Option D. A desire to gain a credential that will impress others and open doors to opportunities, without necessarily committing to the extensive practice and emotional investment required for true artistic mastery. The correct answer is A. A deep-seated desire to hone my craft through rigorous training, to explore diverse artistic expressions, and to develop the resilience and discipline necessary to navigate the complexities of the performing arts industry, with the ultimate goal of contributing meaningfully to the art form. Explanation: this scenario is professionally challenging because it requires an applicant to demonstrate an understanding of the core values and ethical considerations inherent in pursuing a career in the performing arts, specifically within the context of an academic institution like the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, AMDA. The challenge lies in discerning between genuine passion and potential exploitation, and in articulating a commitment to personal growth and artistic integrity. Careful judgment is required to assess the applicant's self-awareness and their understanding of the demanding nature of the industry. The correct approach involves articulating a commitment to rigorous training, artistic development, and a realistic understanding of the industry's challenges, while also expressing a genuine passion for the craft. This aligns with AMDA's likely objective of admitting students who are not only talented, but also dedicated, resilient, and possess a strong work ethic. Ethically, this approach demonstrates self-awareness and a commitment to professional development, which are crucial for success and well-being in a competitive field. It also reflects an understanding of the Academy's role in fostering such growth. An approach that focuses solely on immediate fame and fortune, without acknowledging the necessary dedication and hard work, is ethically problematic. It suggests a superficial understanding of the performing arts and a potential lack of commitment to the rigorous training AMDA provides. This could lead to disappointment and a failure to thrive in the program. Similarly, an approach that emphasizes personal gain or the use of the Academy as a mere stepping stone to celebrity, without genuine artistic intent, fails to align with the educational mission of an institution dedicated to artistic development. It prioritizes external validation over internal growth, which is contrary to the principles of artistic education. An approach that expresses a lack of understanding of the industry's demands or a reluctance to engage in challenging work would also be professionally unsound, as it indicates a potential inability to cope with the rigors of artistic training and performance. Professionals in admissions and artistic education should employ a decision-making framework that prioritizes a holistic assessment of an applicant. This involves evaluating not only talent, but also potential for growth, resilience, ethical understanding, and alignment with the institution's values and mission. It requires looking beyond superficial statements to understand the applicant's underlying motivations and their capacity for sustained effort and artistic integrity. Question 4. Benchmark analysis indicates that prospective students applying to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, AMDA, often face a critical decision regarding their audition material. Given AMDA's stated emphasis on showcasing a range of dramatic and musical talent within specific time constraints, how should an applicant best approach the selection of their audition pieces to maximize their chances of admission? Option A. Choose a piece that is highly experimental and avant-garde, aiming to impress the admissions committee with its originality, even if it deviates from traditional performance styles. Option B. Prioritize selecting a piece that is a well-known, crowd-pleasing standard, assuming that familiarity will guarantee a positive reception from the judges. Option C. Carefully review AMDA application guidelines for audition material, choosing pieces that align with any specified time limits, genre suggestions, and thematic expectations, while still allowing for personal expression. Option D. Select a piece that is personally meaningful and showcases the applicant's most technically challenging skills, regardless of stated time limits or genre preferences. Correct answer is D. Select a piece that is personally meaningful and showcases the applicant's most technically challenging skills, regardless of stated time limits or genre preferences. Explanation: scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge for aspiring artists applying to prestigious institutions like the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, AMDA. The challenge lies in balancing the desire to showcase unique artistic vision with the need to adhere to the specific requirements and expectations of the admissions committee. Misinterpreting or ignoring these guidelines can lead to an application that, while artistically valid in a vacuum, fails to meet the criteria for evaluation, thus jeopardizing the applicant's chances. The professional challenge is to demonstrate self-awareness, adaptability, and a clear understanding of the institution's goals. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves carefully reviewing and understanding the AMDA stated application guidelines, particularly regarding the audition material. This means selecting a piece that not only highlights the applicant's strengths, but also fits within any specified time limits, genre preferences, or thematic requirements. The justification for this approach is rooted in demonstrating respect for the institution's process and an understanding of what they are looking for in candidates. Adhering to guidelines shows professionalism and an ability to follow direction, crucial traits for success in a structured academic and performance environment. It allows the admissions committee to evaluate applicants against a consistent set of criteria, ensuring fairness and efficiency. Incorrect approach is analysis. Choosing a piece solely based on personal preference without considering AMDA guidelines is an incorrect approach. This demonstrates a lack of attention to detail and a potential disregard for the institution's stated needs. It suggests the applicant is not fully engaged with the application process itself, which can be interpreted as a lack of seriousness or preparedness. Selecting a piece that significantly exceeds the recommended time limit, even if it is a powerful performance, is also incorrect. This shows an inability to work within constraints. A critical skill in performance and professional artistic endeavors can be perceived as self-indulgent and disrespectful of the evaluator's time and the structured nature of the audition process. Opting for material that is thematically inappropriate or does not align with the expected artistic standards of a musical and dramatic academy, even if technically proficient, is another incorrect approach. This indicates a misunderstanding of the program's focus and the type of talent AMDA seeks to cultivate. It suggests the applicant may not be a good fit for the program's curriculum and artistic philosophy. Professional reasoning. Professionals in any field, especially the arts, must learn to navigate institutional requirements and expectations. The decision-making process should begin with a thorough understanding of the application guidelines. This involves reading all provided materials carefully, identifying any specific constraints or preferences, and then selecting material that best fits those parameters while still allowing for personal expression and showcasing talent. If there is ambiguity, seeking clarification from the admissions office is a professional and responsible step. The ultimate goal is to present oneself in the most favorable light within the established framework, demonstrating both artistic merit and professional maturity. Question 5. Benchmark analysis indicates that a promising applicant to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy has been offered a role in a student film. The film is being produced by an independent company with a limited track record, and the script, while offering significant stage time, explores themes that the applicant finds ethically questionable and artistically uninspiring. The applicant is eager to gain experience and build their resume. Which of the following approaches best reflects a professional and ethically sound decision-making process for this applicant? Option A. Decline the role, prioritizing artistic integrity and personal values over the immediate opportunity for experience. Option B. Accept the role but focus solely on the technical aspects of acting, mentally disengaging from the problematic themes of the script. Option C. Negotiate with the production company to alter the script's themes to align with their personal values before accepting the role. Option D. Accept the role immediately to gain valuable on-camera experience and add a credit to their resume, as any professional experience is beneficial at this stage. The correct answer is D. Accept the role immediately to gain valuable on-camera experience and add a credit to their resume, as any professional experience is beneficial at this stage. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge for aspiring performing artists, balancing artistic integrity with the practicalities of securing opportunities. Pressure to gain experience and exposure can lead individuals to consider roles or projects that may not align with their long-term artistic goals or ethical standards. The challenge lies in discerning genuine opportunities from those that might exploit their ambition or compromise their developing professional identity. Careful judgment is required to navigate these choices without sacrificing artistic values or succumbing to potentially detrimental situations. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves a thorough evaluation of the opportunity's alignment with personal artistic development and professional ethics. This includes researching the reputation of the production company, understanding the specific demands and artistic merit of the role, and assessing whether the experience will contribute positively to their career trajectory. It also necessitates a clear understanding of their own artistic boundaries and a willingness to decline opportunities that do not meet these criteria, even if they seem immediately beneficial. This aligns with the ethical imperative for artists to pursue work that fosters growth and upholds their artistic integrity, a principle implicitly encouraged in the rigorous environment of a prestigious performing arts academy entrance exam. Incorrect approach is analysis, pursuing the opportunity solely based on the perceived prestige of the venue, without considering the artistic merit of the role or the ethical implications of the production company's practices, represents a failure to engage in critical self-assessment and ethical due diligence. This approach prioritizes external validation over internal artistic development and could lead to participation in projects that are artistically unfulfilling or ethically questionable. Accepting the role without any investigation into the production company's history or the specific nature of the performance, driven purely by the desire for any stage experience, demonstrates a lack of professional discernment. This can expose the applicant to potentially exploitative situations, damage their reputation, or lead to experiences that are detrimental to their artistic growth. It neglects the responsibility to make informed decisions about one's professional endeavors, focusing exclusively on the financial compensation offered, disregarding the artistic content and potential impact on their developing career, signifies a misprioritization of values. While financial stability is important, an artist's primary focus during their formative stages should be on acquiring meaningful experience and honing their craft. This approach risks compromising artistic integrity for short-term financial gain, which can hinder long-term career development. Professional reasoning. Professionals in the performing arts should employ a decision-making framework that integrates artistic aspiration with ethical responsibility. This involves 1. Self-reflection, clearly defining personal artistic goals and values. 2. Due diligence, thoroughly researching any opportunity, including the reputation of collaborators, the nature of the project, and contractual terms. 3. Risk assessment, evaluating potential benefits against potential drawbacks, both artistically and ethically. 4. Informed decision-making, making choices that align with long-term artistic growth and ethical standards, even if it means declining seemingly attractive but ultimately unsuitable opportunities. Question 6. The audit findings indicate a discrepancy in the allocation of resources for student performance development programs, suggesting that certain student groups may have received disproportionately less access to essential training materials and faculty mentorship compared to others over the past academic year. The report highlights a lack of clear documentation justifying these allocations. As the Director of Academic Affairs, what is the most appropriate immediate course of action? Option A. Initiate a comprehensive review of the resource allocation process for student performance development programs, including an examination of the documentation supporting past decisions, and develop a revised, transparent allocation policy with clear justification criteria. Option B. Publicly acknowledge the audit findings and immediately reallocate all available resources to the previously underserved student groups to rectify the perceived imbalance, pending a formal review. Option C. Request the audit committee to retract the findings due to the potential negative perception it could create for the academy, and proceed with existing allocation practices. Option D. Issue a memo to all faculty and staff emphasizing the importance of equitable resource distribution and requesting voluntary adherence to stricter guidelines for future allocations, without further investigation into the specific audit findings. The correct answer is A. Initiate a comprehensive review of the resource allocation process for student performance development programs, including an examination of the documentation supporting past decisions, and develop a revised, transparent allocation policy with clear justification criteria. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires balancing the need for transparency and accountability with the potential for reputational damage and the need to protect sensitive information. The audit findings suggest a potential lapse in adherence to established protocols, which could have implications for the institution's integrity and operational efficiency. Careful judgment is required to determine the most appropriate course of action that upholds ethical standards and regulatory compliance without causing undue harm. The correct approach involves a thorough and objective review of the audit findings, followed by a structured communication plan that addresses the identified issues directly and transparently with relevant stakeholders. This approach prioritizes addressing the root cause of the findings, implementing corrective actions, and ensuring future compliance. This aligns with the principles of good governance and operational integrity expected of educational institutions. Specifically, it reflects a commitment to continuous improvement and a proactive stance in managing institutional risks. An incorrect approach would be to dismiss the audit findings without proper investigation, as this would demonstrate a disregard for established oversight mechanisms and could allow systemic issues to persist. This failure to acknowledge and address findings undermines the audit process and can lead to more significant problems down the line. Another incorrect approach would be to selectively disclose information or to communicate in a way that downplays the severity of the findings, as this constitutes a lack of transparency and could be seen as an attempt to mislead stakeholders. This violates ethical communication standards and erodes trust. Finally, an approach that focuses solely on punitive measures without understanding the underlying causes or implementing corrective actions would be ineffective and could foster a culture of fear rather than improvement. Professionals should approach such situations by first understanding the scope and implications of the audit findings. This involves gathering all relevant information, consulting with internal experts or legal counsel if necessary, and then developing a clear, factual, and actionable response plan. The decision-making process should be guided by principles of integrity, transparency, accountability, and a commitment to the institution's mission and values, all within the framework of the American Musical and Dramatic Academy's established policies and any applicable external guidelines. Question 7. Upon reviewing the application materials for the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, an applicant is asked to describe their personal artistic goals and how they envision contributing to the Academy's vibrant community. Which of the following responses best demonstrates an understanding of the expectations for a successful musical theater student? Option A. I am eager to gain exposure to the industry and network with professionals, as I believe the Academy can provide a direct pathway to commercial success and significant career opportunities. Option B. I am primarily interested in exploring experimental theater forms and pushing artistic boundaries, which I believe will set me apart from other performers. Option C. My aspiration is to develop a strong foundation in all aspects of musical theater performance, understanding that this requires rigorous training and a willingness to collaborate with fellow students and faculty to create compelling artistic works. Option D. I aim to hone my technical singing and acting abilities to a professional standard, with the ultimate goal of securing leading roles in Broadway productions and becoming a recognized artist in the industry. The correct answer is D. I aim to hone my technical singing and acting abilities to a professional standard, with the ultimate goal of securing leading roles in Broadway productions and becoming a recognized artist in the industry. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires an applicant to demonstrate not only artistic talent, but also an understanding of the foundational principles of theatrical production and the collaborative nature of the performing arts. The challenge lies in discerning how to best present oneself and one's skills within the context of an entrance exam that aims to assess potential for success in a rigorous academic and artistic program. Careful judgment is required to balance showcasing individual strengths with demonstrating an awareness of the broader artistic environment. The correct approach involves articulating a clear vision for how one's individual artistic aspirations align with the collaborative ethos of musical theater and the specific training offered by the American Musical and Dramatic Academy. This demonstrates an understanding that success in this field is not solely about individual performance, but also about contributing to a cohesive artistic product. This approach is ethically sound as it promotes honesty about one's goals and realistic expectations of the program and the industry. It aligns with the implicit expectation of an entrance exam to assess not just raw talent, but also the maturity and understanding necessary for successful participation in a performing arts institution. An incorrect approach would be to focus exclusively on individual technical skills, without acknowledging the collaborative aspect of theater. This fails to demonstrate an understanding of the ensemble-based nature of musical theater and the importance of working effectively with others, a key expectation for students entering a program designed to train performers for stage productions. Another incorrect approach would be to express a desire to bypass foundational training in favor of immediate professional opportunities. This suggests a lack of appreciation for the rigorous curriculum and the value of developing a comprehensive skill set, which is a core component of the Academy's educational mission. Finally, an approach that prioritizes personal fame or recognition above artistic contribution and collaboration would indicate a misunderstanding of the core values of the performing arts and the collaborative spirit essential for success in the industry. Professionals in this field should approach such evaluations by first understanding the institution's mission and values. They should then reflect on how their personal goals and skills can contribute to and benefit from that specific environment. Honesty, self-awareness, and a demonstrated understanding of the collaborative nature of the arts are crucial for making a positive and authentic impression. Question 8. System analysis indicates that an admissions committee member for the American Musical and Dramatic Academy entrance exam is reviewing applications. One applicant has a technically flawless but emotionally reserved audition, a well-written essay expressing a desire for rigorous training, and strong academic recommendations. Another applicant has a more raw but emotionally compelling audition, a less polished essay, and recommendations highlighting natural charisma. A third applicant has a solid audition, a compelling essay about overcoming adversity to pursue their passion, and a history of community theater involvement, which approach best aligns with the principles of a fair and effective admissions process for a performing arts academy. Option A. Select the applicant who demonstrates the most immediate star quality and marketability, as this indicates future success. Option B. Evaluate each applicant holistically, considering the interplay of their audition performance, essay content, and supporting materials against AMDA's stated criteria for potential and dedication. Option C. Favor the applicant with the most extensive prior professional experience, as this suggests a higher level of preparedness. Option D. Prioritize the applicant with the technically flawless audition, as technical skill is the most objective measure of talent. The correct answer is D. Prioritize the applicant with the technically flawless audition, as technical skill is the most objective measure of talent. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a challenge common in educational admissions, particularly for performance-based institutions like the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, AMDA. The core difficulty lies in balancing the subjective nature of artistic talent assessment with the need for fair, transparent, and equitable evaluation processes. Admissions committees must navigate potential biases, ensure consistent application of criteria, and uphold the integrity of the selection process while identifying candidates with the greatest potential for success within AMDA-specific programs. The pressure to fill limited spots can exacerbate these challenges, making rigorous adherence to established guidelines paramount. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves a holistic review of the applicant's submitted materials, focusing on the established criteria for the AMDA entrance exam. This includes a thorough assessment of the audition performance, the personal essay's articulation of artistic goals and commitment, and any supplementary materials that demonstrate potential and preparedness. The justification for this approach lies in AMDA's stated mission and the inherent nature of artistic training. AMDA seeks individuals with not only demonstrable talent, but also the dedication, resilience, and intellectual curiosity to thrive in a rigorous conservatory environment. A comprehensive review ensures that all facets of a candidate's potential are considered, aligning with the Academy's commitment to developing well-rounded performers. This method upholds fairness by evaluating each applicant against the same set of predefined standards, minimizing the impact of individual reviewer subjectivity. Incorrect approach is analysis, focusing solely on the technical proficiency demonstrated in the audition, while important, represents an incomplete evaluation. This approach fails to consider the applicant's potential for growth, their understanding of the craft, or their suitability for the Academy's specific pedagogical approach, which are often conveyed through essays and other materials. It risks overlooking candidates with raw talent and strong potential, who may not yet possess perfect technical execution, but exhibit greater long-term promise. Prioritizing applicants based on perceived star quality or immediate marketability is ethically problematic and deviates from the academic and artistic development mission of AMDA. This subjective and potentially biased criterion can lead to the exclusion of highly capable students who may not fit a narrow, preconceived notion of success. It undermines the principle of merit-based selection and can perpetuate biases within the industry, giving undue weight to an applicant's prior professional experience or connections without a thorough assessment of their current artistic readiness and potential for growth within AMDA curriculum is also an inappropriate approach. While experience can be valuable, it does not automatically equate to suitability for AMDA-specific training. This approach can disadvantage talented individuals who have not had the same opportunities for early exposure, failing to identify potential that can be cultivated by the academy. Professional reasoning. Professionals in admissions at institutions like AMDA should employ a decision-making framework that begins with a clear understanding of the institution's mission, values, and specific admission criteria. This framework necessitates a systematic and objective evaluation of all submitted materials against these established standards. It requires a commitment to fairness, equity, and transparency, actively mitigating personal biases. When faced with subjective elements, such as artistic interpretation, the focus should remain on the applicant's demonstrated potential, their commitment to the craft, and their alignment with the Academy's educational philosophy, rather than on superficial or external factors. Regular training on bias awareness and consistent application of rubrics are crucial components of this professional process. Question 9. The monitoring system demonstrates that an applicant to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy has a history of posting provocative and potentially controversial content on their personal social media accounts, which has drawn some negative attention from peers. The admissions committee is reviewing this information as part of the holistic application process. Which of the following approaches best reflects a professional and responsible response from the applicant if directly questioned about these posts? Option A. Asserting their right to free speech and arguing that their personal social media activity is irrelevant to their artistic talent and suitability for AMDA. Option B. Offering a brief, unelaborated apology without providing any context or demonstrating an understanding of the potential implications for their application. Option C. Acknowledging the posts, expressing understanding of how they might be perceived, and framing them as a learning experience that has informed a more thoughtful approach to online presence and professional conduct. Option D. Dismissing the posts as a misunderstanding or a minor issue that does not reflect their true character or artistic aspirations. The correct answer is C. Acknowledging the posts, expressing understanding of how they might be perceived, and framing them as a learning experience that has informed a more thoughtful approach to online presence and professional conduct. Explanation. This scenario is professionally challenging because it requires an applicant to demonstrate an understanding of how their personal life, specifically their engagement with social media, could impact their suitability for admission to a performing arts academy. The challenge lies in balancing personal expression with the professional image and community standards expected by an institution like AMDA. Careful judgment is required to discern what constitutes acceptable online behavior versus what might raise concerns about an applicant's maturity, judgment, or potential to uphold the Academy's values. The correct approach involves acknowledging the content of the social media posts and demonstrating an understanding of how such content might be perceived by the admissions committee, while also articulating a commitment to professional conduct and growth. This approach is right because it shows self-awareness and a willingness to learn from potential missteps. It aligns with the ethical expectation that individuals seeking admission to a professional training program should be mindful of their public persona and its implications. By directly addressing the concern and framing it as a learning experience, the applicant demonstrates maturity and a proactive stance towards professional development, which is a key consideration for any educational institution, especially one focused on performance arts where public perception is paramount. An incorrect approach that focuses solely on the right to free speech fails to acknowledge the context of an admissions process. While free speech is a fundamental right, it does not guarantee admission to a private institution. Admissions committees have the right to set standards for their student body, and this includes evaluating an applicant's potential to contribute positively to the Academy's community and uphold its reputation. This approach is ethically flawed because it dismisses the legitimate concerns of the institution regarding an applicant's judgment and suitability. Another incorrect approach that dismisses the posts as irrelevant or a misunderstanding of the situation is also professionally unacceptable. This demonstrates a lack of self-awareness and an inability to critically assess one's own actions and their potential consequences. It suggests an applicant who might be defensive or unwilling to engage with feedback, which are not desirable traits for someone undergoing rigorous artistic training and preparing for a public-facing career. A further incorrect approach that apologizes profusely without offering any insight into learning or future conduct may appear insincere or overly anxious. While an apology can be part of the response, it needs to be coupled with a demonstration of understanding and a commitment to improved behavior. Without this, the apology can feel like a superficial attempt to placate the admissions committee rather than a genuine reflection of growth. The professional decision-making process for similar situations involves a multi-step evaluation. 1. Acknowledge the observation or concern raised. 2. Assess the potential impact of the observed behavior on the institution's reputation, community, and the applicant's own professional development. 3. Consider the applicant's intent versus the perceived impact of their actions. 4. Evaluate the applicant's capacity for self-reflection, learning, and adaptation. 5. Determine if the behavior violates any explicit or implicit codes of conduct or ethical standards relevant to the institution and the profession. 6. Formulate a response that is honest, self-aware, and demonstrates a commitment to professional growth and adherence to community standards. Question 10. Examination of the data shows that an applicant for the American Musical and Dramatic Academy entrance exam has provided the following statements regarding their motivations for pursuing a career in the performing arts. Which statement best reflects a realistic and dedicated approach to artistic development, aligning with the rigorous standards of professional training? Option A. I've always dreamed of being famous and performing on big stages. I believe AMDA is the fastest way to get there and make a name for myself in the industry. Option B. I want to be a star and get a lot of attention. I'm not really interested in the technical aspects of acting or singing, just the glamorous parts of being a performer. Option C. My passion lies in exploring complex characters and honing my craft through dedicated practice and study. I am drawn to AMDA's reputation for intensive training and its faculty's expertise in developing well-rounded artists. Option D. While I haven't had much formal training, I'm curious about acting and singing, and I'm hoping AMDA can show me if I have what it takes to be a performer. The correct answer is A. I've always dreamed of being famous and performing on big stages. I believe AMDA is the fastest way to get there and make a name for myself in the industry. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires an applicant to demonstrate an understanding of the core values and expectations of the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, AMDA, as an institution, specifically in relation to their artistic integrity and commitment to their craft. The challenge lies in discerning which response best reflects a genuine passion for artistic development and a realistic approach to the demanding nature of performing arts education, rather than superficial or misinformed perceptions. Careful judgment is required to identify the applicant's alignment with AMDA mission and the rigorous standards of the industry. The correct approach involves an applicant articulating a clear, self-aware understanding of their artistic goals and how AMDA-specific programs and faculty will help them achieve those goals. This includes acknowledging the dedication, discipline, and continuous learning required in the performing arts. This approach is right because it demonstrates maturity, a realistic outlook, and a genuine commitment to the intensive training AMDA provides. It aligns with the ethical expectation that students entering a professional training program are prepared for the challenges and are motivated by a deep-seated passion for their chosen field, rather than solely by external validation or a romanticized notion of fame. An incorrect approach that focuses solely on the desire for fame and recognition fails to demonstrate a commitment to the craft itself. This is ethically problematic as it suggests the applicant may not be prepared for the hard work and dedication required for artistic growth, potentially leading to disappointment or a lack of perseverance. Another incorrect approach that emphasizes a lack of prior experience or a vague interest in trying something new is also professionally unacceptable. It indicates a lack of research into AMDA-specific offerings and the demands of professional performing arts education, suggesting the applicant has not seriously considered the commitment involved. Finally, an approach that prioritizes immediate stardom over foundational training demonstrates a misunderstanding of the artistic development process and the value of rigorous education. This is ethically unsound as it undervalues the importance of skill building and artistic exploration, which are the cornerstones of a successful career in the performing arts. The professional decision-making process for similar situations involves evaluating applicants not just on their raw talent, but on their understanding of the profession, their commitment to learning and growth, and their alignment with the institution's values. Professionals should look for evidence of self-awareness, a strong work ethic, and a genuine passion for the art form, supported by thoughtful consideration of how the specific program will contribute to their development. Question 11. Assessment of a student's proposed performance piece for an upcoming showcase at the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, AMDA, reveals that the content, while personally meaningful to the student, contains potentially controversial themes that could be interpreted as insensitive or offensive by some members of the AMDA community. The student is passionate about their artistic vision, but is also aware of AMDA's commitment to fostering a respectful and inclusive environment. Which of the following approaches best reflects professional and ethical conduct for the student in this situation? Option A. Perform the piece as intended and be prepared to defend the artistic merit and personal significance of the work to anyone who expresses offense. Option B. Proceed with the performance as planned, assuming artistic freedom allows for any expression, and address any concerns after the showcase. Option C. Proactively discuss the proposed performance piece with AMDA faculty or administration to seek guidance and ensure alignment with academy values. Option D. Modify the performance piece significantly to eliminate any potentially controversial elements, even if it compromises the student's original artistic intent. The correct answer is C. Proactively discuss the proposed performance piece with AMDA faculty or administration to seek guidance and ensure alignment with academy values. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a challenge for an aspiring student at the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, AMDA, regarding their understanding of the institution's core values and the implications of their artistic choices. The challenge lies in balancing personal artistic expression with the Academy's commitment to fostering a respectful and inclusive learning environment. AMDA, as an educational institution, has a responsibility to uphold certain standards of conduct and to ensure that its students are prepared for professional careers that demand ethical behavior and sensitivity. The student's proposed performance piece, while potentially artistically valid in their personal view, risks violating these principles and creating a negative impact on the AMDA community. Careful judgment is required to navigate this conflict between individual artistic freedom and institutional responsibility. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves the student proactively engaging with AMDA faculty or administration to discuss their proposed performance piece. This demonstrates a commitment to understanding and adhering to AMDA guidelines and values. By seeking guidance and feedback, the student shows respect for the institution's educational mission and its commitment to a positive learning environment. This approach allows for a constructive dialogue where the student can explain their artistic intent, and the faculty can provide context regarding AMDA policies on appropriate content and conduct. This collaborative process ensures that artistic expression is explored within ethical boundaries, preventing potential harm to the student body and upholding the Academy's reputation. This aligns with the ethical imperative for students in professional training programs to be aware of and respect the standards of the profession and the institutions that train them. Incorrect approaches analysis. Proceeding with the performance without seeking any guidance from AMDA faculty or administration is professionally unacceptable. This approach disregards the Academy's established policies and the potential impact of the performance on other students and the overall learning environment. It suggests a lack of awareness or a deliberate disregard for institutional expectations, which can lead to disciplinary action and hinder the student's progress. Performing the piece with the intention of seeing what happens or testing the boundaries is also professionally unsound. This approach prioritizes personal experimentation over the well-being and sensitivities of the AMDA community. It demonstrates a failure to consider the ethical implications of artistic choices and a lack of respect for the Academy's role in shaping responsible artists. Such an approach could create a hostile or uncomfortable environment for others, undermining the collaborative spirit essential for artistic development. Performing the piece and then apologizing if it causes offense is a reactive and irresponsible approach. It implies that the student is willing to cause harm and then seek forgiveness, rather than proactively ensuring their actions are appropriate. This demonstrates a lack of foresight and an unwillingness to take full responsibility for the potential consequences of their artistic decisions. Professionalism demands proactive consideration of impact, not a post hoc attempt to mitigate damage. Professional reasoning. Professionals in the performing arts, especially those in training, must develop a strong ethical compass. The decision-making process should involve 1. Understanding the context, recognizing that artistic expression occurs within specific institutional or professional frameworks that have established guidelines and values. 2. Assessing potential impact, considering how one's actions or creations might affect others, including peers, faculty, and the broader community. 3. Seeking clarification and guidance. When in doubt, proactively engaging with relevant authorities or mentors to understand expectations and potential concerns. 4. Prioritizing respect and inclusivity, ensuring that artistic endeavors do not demean, marginalize, or harm others. 5. Taking responsibility, being accountable for the consequences of one's choices and being willing to learn from feedback. Question 12. Which approach would be most appropriate for an applicant to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy entrance exam when asked to submit a performance piece demonstrating their unique artistic voice and understanding of the Academy's training philosophy? Option A. Create and perform an original piece that directly addresses the prompt, showcasing personal interpretation and skills relevant to the Academy's curriculum. Option B. Submit a performance piece that was created by a peer, but with the peer's explicit permission, and a note acknowledging their contribution. Option C. Present a highly polished performance piece that was developed with extensive coaching from a private instructor, without disclosing the extent of the external development. Option D. Submit a performance piece that was created and performed by a well-known professional artist, with the applicant's own brief introduction, explaining their admiration for the work. The correct answer is D. Submit a performance piece that was created and performed by a well-known professional artist, with the applicant's own brief introduction, explaining their admiration for the work. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires an applicant to demonstrate not only artistic talent, but also an understanding of the ethical and professional responsibilities inherent in pursuing a career in the performing arts, particularly within an academic setting like the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, AMDA. The challenge lies in balancing personal ambition with the integrity of the application process and respecting the established guidelines. Careful judgment is required to navigate the temptation to gain an unfair advantage while upholding honesty and fairness. The correct approach involves directly addressing the prompt with original material that showcases the applicant's unique abilities and understanding of the AMDA program. This aligns with the core principle of academic integrity, which emphasizes honesty, trust, fairness, respect, and responsibility. By submitting original work, the applicant demonstrates their genuine talent and commitment to the rigorous training AMDA provides, without resorting to deceptive practices. This approach respects the established evaluation criteria and ensures a fair assessment for all applicants. An incorrect approach that involves submitting work created by someone else, even with their permission, fails to meet the fundamental ethical requirement of originality. This constitutes a misrepresentation of the applicant's own skills and abilities, undermining the purpose of the entrance exam, which is to assess individual potential. Such an action violates the principle of honesty and fairness, as it creates an unequal playing field for other applicants who are submitting their own work. Another incorrect approach, such as fabricating a narrative or experience to impress the admissions committee, also violates the principle of honesty. It might seem like a way to enhance a profile. It is fundamentally dishonest and misrepresents the applicant's true background and qualifications. This can lead to the applicant being admitted under false pretenses, potentially setting them up for failure if they cannot meet the demands of the program based on their actual capabilities. A further incorrect approach, such as attempting to influence the admissions committee through unauthorized means, such as offering personal favors or attempting to bypass the standard review process, is a severe ethical breach. This undermines the integrity of the entire admission system and demonstrates a lack of respect for the established procedures and the fairness of the evaluation. It suggests a willingness to engage in unethical behavior, which is antithetical to the professional standards expected of AMDA students and graduates. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should always begin with a thorough understanding of the stated requirements and guidelines. Applicants should then reflect on their own genuine abilities and experiences. The guiding principle should be to present oneself authentically and ethically, demonstrating both talent and integrity. If there is any ambiguity, seeking clarification from the institution is always a responsible step. The goal is to earn admission through merit and honest representation, not through deception or manipulation. Question 13. Implementation of a personal artistic philosophy that prioritizes experimental, self-directed exploration over traditional technique, and a desire to leverage the Academy's platform primarily for networking and immediate industry exposure, is being considered by an applicant for the American Musical and Dramatic Academy. How should this applicant best articulate their approach to align with the Academy's entrance requirements and educational mission? Option A. Emphasize a deep respect for the foundational training AMDA offers, explaining how their personal artistic philosophy can be enriched and refined through the Academy's structured curriculum and expert faculty guidance, while also expressing a desire to contribute their unique perspective to the collaborative learning environment. Option B. Clearly state a preference for independent artistic development, highlighting their existing portfolio of experimental work and their intention to use AMDA resources mainly for building industry connections and seeking performance opportunities outside of the core curriculum. Option C. Articulate a vision for a highly individualized artistic journey, suggesting that formal training might be restrictive and proposing a modified curriculum that allows for significant deviation from standard coursework to pursue their unique artistic interests. Option D. Focus on their ambition for rapid commercial success, detailing how they plan to quickly transition from academy training to professional roles, and express a belief that traditional techniques may hinder their ability to innovate and stand out in the current market. The correct answer is A. Emphasize a deep respect for the foundational training AMDA offers, explaining how their personal artistic philosophy can be enriched and refined through the Academy's structured curriculum and expert faculty guidance, while also expressing a desire to contribute their unique perspective to the collaborative learning environment. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires an applicant to demonstrate an understanding of how artistic integrity and institutional mission intersect, particularly within the context of an educational institution like the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, AMDA. The challenge lies in balancing the applicant's personal artistic vision with the Academy's established curriculum and pedagogical goals. Careful judgment is required to articulate a response that is both authentic to the applicant's aspirations and respectful of the institution's framework. The correct approach involves articulating a clear understanding of how the applicant's personal artistic development aligns with the structured training offered by AMDA, emphasizing a willingness to engage with and learn from the Academy's specific methodologies and faculty. This demonstrates an awareness that artistic growth often benefits from foundational training and mentorship, which is precisely what an academy provides. This approach is ethically sound and professionally appropriate, as it signals a commitment to disciplined learning and a recognition of the value of structured education in honing artistic craft, aligning with the implicit contract between student and institution. It shows respect for the Academy's expertise and its role in shaping emerging artists. An incorrect approach that focuses solely on individualistic, unproven artistic theories without acknowledging the need for foundational training fails to demonstrate an understanding of the educational environment. This approach is ethically problematic as it suggests a potential resistance to instruction and a disregard for the established curriculum, which could lead to friction and hinder the applicant's progress within the academy. It also implies a lack of preparedness for the collaborative and structured nature professional artistic training. Another incorrect approach that prioritizes immediate professional recognition and commercial success over artistic development overlooks the fundamental purpose of an academy, which is to build a strong artistic foundation. This approach is professionally unsound because it suggests a short-sighted perspective that may not be conducive to long-term artistic growth. It also fails to acknowledge that true professional success is often built upon a solid grounding in craft and technique, which is the primary offering of an institution like AMDA. A further incorrect approach that expresses a desire to bypass fundamental training in favor of self-directed exploration, while potentially stemming from a passion for art, is professionally inappropriate in the context of an entrance exam for a formal educational institution. This approach signals a misunderstanding of the benefits of structured learning and mentorship. It suggests that the applicant may not be ready or willing to commit to the rigorous, guided process that AMDA offers, potentially leading to a poor fit and an unsuccessful educational experience. The professional decision-making process for similar situations involves 1. Understanding the core mission and values of the institution. 2. Reflecting on personal artistic goals and how they can be achieved within the institution's framework. 3. Articulating a response that demonstrates both authenticity and an understanding of the educational context, showing a willingness to learn and grow through the provided structure. Question 14. Market research demonstrates that prospective students often struggle to articulate their artistic vision and its connection to specific academic programs. For an applicant to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy AMDA entrance exam, which approach to the personal essay component would be most effective in showcasing their suitability for the institution's rigorous training? Option A. Writing an essay that emphasizes highly personal, emotional life experiences and struggles, aiming to evoke sympathy rather than demonstrate artistic potential or program fit. Option B. Focusing the essay exclusively on a detailed list of past performance credits and awards without discussing future artistic ambitions or AMDA role in achieving them. Option C. Crafting a personal essay that authentically reflects the applicant's passion for musical and dramatic arts, clearly articulates their specific artistic goals, and demonstrates how AMDA programs align with these aspirations. Option D. Submitting a generic essay that highlights general interest in performing arts and could be sent to any conservatory or university. The correct answer is C. Crafting a personal essay that authentically reflects the applicant's passion for musical and dramatic arts, clearly articulates their specific artistic goals, and demonstrates how AMDA programs align with these aspirations. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario is professionally challenging because it requires an applicant to demonstrate an understanding of how to ethically and effectively present their artistic qualifications and aspirations to an academic institution, specifically the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, AMDA. The challenge lies in balancing genuine enthusiasm and personal narrative with the need for professional presentation and adherence to AMDA-stated admissions criteria, without misrepresenting capabilities or making unsubstantiated claims. Careful judgment is required to ensure the application is both compelling and compliant with AMDA expectations for prospective students. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves crafting a personal essay that authentically reflects the applicant's passion for musical and dramatic arts, clearly articulates their specific artistic goals, and demonstrates how AMDA programs align with these aspirations. This approach is right because it directly addresses the core purpose of an entrance essay: to allow the applicant to showcase their suitability for the program beyond academic transcripts. It emphasizes self-awareness, clear communication of artistic vision, and a demonstrated understanding of the institution's offerings, which are key indicators of a motivated and well-suited candidate. This aligns with the implicit guidelines of any university entrance exam, which seeks to understand the applicant's potential and fit. Incorrect approaches analysis. Presenting a generic essay that could apply to any performing arts school fails because it does not demonstrate a specific interest in or understanding of AMDA unique curriculum, faculty, or philosophy. This suggests a lack of genuine research and commitment to the institution. Focusing solely on past achievements without connecting them to future aspirations or how AMDA can facilitate growth is problematic. While achievements are important, an entrance essay should look forward, explaining why the applicant needs AMDA-specific training to reach their future goals. Including overly dramatic or exaggerated personal anecdotes that do not directly relate to artistic development or AMDA programs can be perceived as unprofessional and a distraction from the applicant's artistic merit and potential. It may also suggest a lack of maturity or an inability to present oneself effectively in a professional context. Professional reasoning. Professionals in admissions and artistic evaluation look for candidates who demonstrate a clear understanding of their own artistic journey, a well-defined vision for their future, and a genuine, informed interest in the specific institution. The decision-making process involves assessing the applicant's ability to communicate effectively, their potential for growth within the program, and their alignment with the institution's values and mission. Applicants should research the institution thoroughly, reflect on their personal artistic narrative, and tailor their application to demonstrate how they will both benefit from and contribute to the academic community. Question 15. During the evaluation of a prospective student's application for the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, the admissions committee is reviewing a video submission that showcases a technically proficient but emotionally detached performance. The applicant has strong academic credentials and glowing letters of recommendation that speak to their work ethic and dedication to the craft. Which of the following approaches best aligns with the Academy's mission to cultivate well-rounded performing artists? Option A. Giving significant weight to the applicant's perceived marketability and immediate appeal, as this suggests they are ready for a professional career. Option B. Focusing solely on the technical execution demonstrated in the video, as this is a foundational element of performance. Option C. Prioritizing the applicant's potential for growth and their demonstrated passion for the performing arts, as evidenced by their overall application package, even if the audition performance has areas for development. Option D. Allowing the strong academic credentials and letters of recommendation to override a critical assessment of the artistic merit presented in the audition. The correct answer is B. Focusing solely on the technical execution demonstrated in the video, as this is a foundational element of performance. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario is professionally challenging because it requires the admissions committee to balance the Academy's commitment to artistic excellence and student development with the need for fair and equitable evaluation of all applicants. The pressure to identify promising talent, coupled with the subjective nature of artistic assessment, can lead to biases. Ensuring that the evaluation process is transparent, consistent, and free from undue influence is paramount to maintaining the integrity of the admissions process and upholding the Academy's reputation. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves a holistic review of the applicant's materials, focusing on demonstrated passion, potential for growth, and alignment with the Academy's specific artistic training philosophy. This approach is justified by the American Musical and Dramatic Academy's stated mission to nurture aspiring artists. It emphasizes looking beyond a single performance or audition piece to understand the applicant's journey, dedication, and capacity to benefit from the Academy's rigorous curriculum. This aligns with the ethical principle of fair assessment, where all relevant aspects of an applicant's profile are considered. Incorrect approach is analysis. An approach that prioritizes only technical proficiency without considering artistic interpretation or potential for development fails to recognize the nuanced nature of performing arts education. This can lead to overlooking talented individuals who may not yet possess perfect technique, but exhibit strong emotional connection and creative vision. An approach that relies heavily on the perceived star quality or immediate marketability of an applicant, without a thorough assessment of their foundational skills and commitment to training, risks admitting students who may not be suited for the Academy's intensive program. This can lead to higher attrition rates and a disservice to both the student and the institution. An approach that allows personal connections or external recommendations to unduly influence the admissions decision, overriding objective evaluation criteria, represents a significant ethical failure. This undermines the principle of meritocracy and can lead to accusations of favorability and unfairness, damaging the Academy's credibility. Professional reasoning. Professionals in admissions should employ a structured, multifaceted evaluation process. This involves clearly defined criteria that assess not only current skill, but also potential, dedication, and fit with the institution's mission. Utilizing a diverse committee with varied expertise can help mitigate individual biases. Transparency in the process, where possible, and a commitment to consistent application of standards are crucial for maintaining fairness and upholding the integrity of the admissions decision. Question 16. Stakeholder feedback indicates that the American Musical and Dramatic Academy entrance exam process may inadvertently favor applicants with extensive formal training and performance experience, potentially overlooking promising individuals with less conventional backgrounds. Considering AMDA's commitment to fostering diverse artistic talent, how should the admissions committee approach the evaluation of an applicant who demonstrates exceptional raw talent, a deep understanding of theatrical principles, and a compelling personal narrative, but has limited formal training and performance credits? Option A. Assign a lower score to applicants with less formal training, regardless of other demonstrated strengths, to maintain a consistent standard of pre-existing artistic development. Option B. Prioritize a holistic review that assesses the applicant's passion, potential for growth, and understanding of the performing arts, alongside their demonstrated abilities, to identify individuals who can thrive within AMDA rigorous training environment. Option C. Focus primarily on the applicant's immediate stage presence and polished performance skills, as these are the most direct indicators of readiness for a professional career. Option D. Strictly adhere to a minimum requirement of formal training hours and a specified number of performance credits, as these are established indicators of preparedness for advanced artistic study. The correct answer is B. Prioritize a holistic review that assesses the applicant's passion, potential for growth, and understanding of the performing arts, alongside their demonstrated abilities, to identify individuals who can thrive within AMDA rigorous training environment. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires balancing the institution's commitment to artistic excellence with the need to ensure equitable access and fair evaluation for all prospective students. The American Musical and Dramatic Academy, AMDA, entrance exam, as a gatekeeper to specialized artistic training, must uphold rigorous standards while also adhering to principles of fairness and non-discrimination. The challenge lies in interpreting and applying AMDA's stated values and any implicit or explicit guidelines regarding the evaluation of diverse artistic backgrounds and potential. The correct approach involves a holistic review that considers the applicant's demonstrated passion, potential for growth, and understanding of the performing arts, irrespective of their prior formal training or exposure. This approach aligns with the ethical imperative to identify and nurture talent from all backgrounds, recognizing that artistic development is not solely dependent on pre-existing accolades or formal education. It prioritizes the applicant's inherent ability to learn, adapt, and contribute to the AMDA community, which is a core objective of any reputable performing arts institution. This aligns with the spirit of fostering diverse artistic voices and ensuring that the entrance process is not unduly biased against those who may have had fewer opportunities for formal training. An incorrect approach would be to rigidly adhere to a checklist of formal training or specific performance experiences, dismissing applicants who demonstrate significant raw talent or a profound understanding of the art form, but lack conventional credentials. This fails to acknowledge the varied pathways individuals take into the performing arts and could lead to the exclusion of promising candidates who possess the very qualities AMDA seeks to cultivate. Another incorrect approach would be to prioritize applicants based on perceived star quality or immediate polish without a thorough assessment of their foundational understanding, teachability, and long-term potential. This can lead to subjective biases and overlook individuals who may require more development, but possess a deeper artistic sensibility. Finally, an approach that focuses solely on technical proficiency without considering the applicant's passion, commitment, and ability to articulate their artistic goals would be flawed, as it neglects the crucial emotional and intellectual components of a successful performing artist. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a thorough understanding of the institution's mission and values, a commitment to fair and equitable evaluation, and the ability to assess potential beyond superficial metrics. It requires a nuanced judgment that weighs demonstrated skill against inherent talent, passion, and the capacity for growth within the specific context of the performing arts. Question 17. Performance analysis shows that a musical theater applicant to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy is preparing their audition. The exam guidelines emphasize the need for a piece that demonstrates strong vocal technique, clear diction, emotional connection to the text, and the ability to convey character through both song and dramatic interpretation. The applicant has a wide range of potential pieces they could perform. Which of the following approaches best aligns with the stated requirements for the audition? Option A. Opt for a well-known, upbeat pop song that the applicant enjoys singing, prioritizing crowd-pleasing energy over specific dramatic storytelling. Option B. Choose a technically challenging operatic area that highlights advanced vocal control and range, regardless of its dramatic narrative. Option C. Perform a spoken word piece that is highly personal and experimental, focusing on abstract emotional expression without a traditional song structure. Option D. Select a song from a contemporary musical that allows for a nuanced portrayal of a complex emotional journey and showcases vocal agility and clarity. The correct answer is D. Select a song from a contemporary musical that allows for a nuanced portrayal of a complex emotional journey and showcases vocal agility and clarity. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires an applicant to demonstrate not only artistic talent, but also an understanding of the foundational principles of theatrical performance as they relate to the American Musical and Dramatic Academies, AMDA, entrance exam guidelines. The challenge lies in interpreting and applying these guidelines to a specific performance choice, ensuring the selection aligns with the Academy's stated objectives for evaluating potential students. Careful judgment is required to balance personal artistic expression with the explicit requirements of the examination. The correct approach involves selecting a piece that showcases a range of vocal and dramatic capabilities, directly addressing the stated criteria of the AMDA entrance exam for musical theater applicants. This approach is right because it demonstrates an understanding of what the Academy is looking for: a performer who can effectively convey character, emotion, and vocal technique within the context of musical theater. By choosing a piece that allows for both strong vocal delivery and compelling dramatic interpretation, the applicant directly meets the exam's stated goals of assessing a candidate's potential for success in a musical theater program. This aligns with the implicit ethical responsibility of an applicant to present themselves in a manner that accurately reflects their abilities and suitability for the program, as outlined by the exam's parameters. An incorrect approach would be to choose a piece solely based on personal preference or perceived difficulty, without considering its suitability for demonstrating the required skills. This fails to meet the exam's objectives, as it does not showcase the applicant's ability to perform within the specific demands of musical theater as defined by AMDA. Another incorrect approach would be to select a piece that is technically demanding, but lacks significant dramatic content or emotional depth. This would neglect the crucial aspect of storytelling and character development, which are central to musical theater performance and are likely assessed by the Academy. A third incorrect approach would be to choose a piece that is too obscure or avant-garde, potentially alienating the evaluators or failing to demonstrate a grasp of traditional musical theater repertoire that the Academy might expect. This risks misinterpreting the spirit of the exam, which aims to assess a candidate's foundational skills and potential within the established framework of the discipline. The professional decision-making process for similar situations involves a thorough review of the examination guidelines and a self-assessment of one's strengths and weaknesses in relation to those guidelines. Applicants should consider what specific skills are being evaluated and select material that best highlights those skills. It is also important to research the institution's program and understand its artistic philosophy and expectations. Finally, seeking feedback from experienced mentors or instructors can provide valuable insight into the appropriateness of chosen material. Question 18. Quality control measures reveal that a significant number of applicant submissions for the American Musical and Dramatic Academy entrance exam feature performances that have undergone extensive external creative input. One applicant's submission, a musical theater monologue, was directed and heavily coached by a renowned Broadway director, with significant script alterations made to enhance dramatic impact, and the applicant's vocal performance was meticulously auto-tuned to achieve a technically perfect sound. Considering the ethical guidelines and the purpose of an entrance exam, which of the following approaches to preparing and submitting an audition piece best aligns with the principles of artistic integrity and fair evaluation for AMDA applicants? Option A. Engaging a professional director to significantly reinterpret the material and guide the applicant through a performance that is polished to a professional standard, and utilizing vocal editing software to ensure flawless vocal delivery. Option B. Collaborating with a scriptwriter to extensively rewrite the chosen monologue to better showcase the applicant's perceived strengths, and having a vocal coach work on a technically perfect rendition that is then auto-tuned. Option C. Focusing on elaborate staging and lighting design, with the applicant delivering a competent but not necessarily deeply personal interpretation of the text to create a visually impressive submission. Option D. Submitting a performance piece that is a direct interpretation of the chosen material, with minimal external directorial input beyond clarifying the applicant's own artistic choices, and presenting the performance as is, without technical vocal manipulation. The correct answer is D. Submitting a performance piece that is a direct interpretation of the chosen material, with minimal external directorial input beyond clarifying the applicant's own artistic choices, and presenting the performance as is, without technical vocal manipulation. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires an applicant to demonstrate an understanding of the foundational principles of artistic integrity and ethical conduct within the performing arts, specifically as it relates to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy's AMDA entrance examination process. The challenge lies in discerning between genuine artistic expression and potential misrepresentation or exploitation, which are critical considerations for an institution dedicated to training aspiring artists. Careful judgment is required to ensure that the applicant's submission reflects their authentic talent and commitment to the craft, rather than relying on external or misleading elements. The correct approach involves an applicant submitting a performance piece that showcases their individual skills and artistic interpretation, developed through their own practice and understanding of the material. This aligns with the ethical expectation of academic integrity and personal artistic development, which are paramount in an educational setting like AMDA. The justification is rooted in the principle of authenticity in artistic evaluation. Admissions committees seek to assess a candidate's raw talent, potential for growth, and genuine passion for musical theater and dramatic arts. Submitting a piece that is primarily the product of extensive professional intervention, rather than the applicant's own creative input and performance capability, misrepresents their current skill level and artistic voice, potentially leading to an inaccurate assessment and placement. This upholds the ethical standard of honesty in academic applications, an incorrect approach that relies heavily on a professional director to significantly alter the core artistic choices and emotional arc of the submitted piece fails, because it obscures the applicant's personal contribution and artistic decision-making. This is ethically problematic as it presents a fabricated artistic persona, not the applicant's genuine abilities. Another incorrect approach, such as incorporating elaborate, professionally produced special effects or staging that are beyond the scope of a typical self-produced audition piece, also fails. This is because it shifts the focus from the applicant's performance to the technical production, which is not the primary criterion for evaluating an aspiring student's acting or musical talent. Furthermore, it may create an unfair advantage or misrepresent the applicant's ability to perform effectively in standard audition environments. A third incorrect approach, which involves the applicant performing a piece that has been heavily edited or rewritten by someone else to fit a specific, predetermined mold, is also ethically unsound. This undermines the assessment of the applicant's own interpretive skills and their ability to connect with and convey the essence of a given text or song. The professional decision-making process for similar situation should involve a clear understanding of the purpose of the audition or submission. Applicants should ask themselves, what is the institution trying to assess? In this case, AMDA is assessing individual talent, potential, and artistic voice. Therefore, the focus should be on presenting one's own abilities and interpretations as authentically as possible. Professionals should prioritize honesty, integrity, and a genuine representation of their current skill set. When in doubt, it is always best to err on the side of simplicity and authenticity, allowing one's inherent talent to shine through without artificial enhancement or misrepresentation. Question 19. Benchmark analysis indicates that aspiring students applying to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy often face pressure to present their most polished and impressive artistic work. An applicant has a strong passion for musical theater, but their recent performance reel contains several technical vocal imperfections, and their acting experience is primarily in student productions. They are considering submitting older footage from a more polished performance where they had a smaller role, or heavily editing their recent footage to minimize the imperfections, or fabricating a more extensive performance history to appear more experienced. Which of the following approaches best aligns with ethical admissions practices and demonstrates a commitment to genuine artistic development? Option A. Fabricate a more extensive performance history, including roles in professional productions that did not occur, to create a stronger impression of experience. Option B. Heavily edit recent performance footage to mask vocal imperfections and present it as a polished showcase of current skills. Option C. Submit older, more polished footage from a performance where the applicant had a minor role, implying it was a more significant contribution. Option D. Submit a recent performance reel that accurately reflects current vocal abilities and acting experience, acknowledging the student production context, and focus on the passion and potential demonstrated. Correct answer is D. Submit a recent performance reel that accurately reflects current vocal abilities and acting experience, acknowledging the student production context, and focus on the passion and potential demonstrated. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge for aspiring performing artists, balancing artistic integrity with the practicalities of securing educational opportunities. The professional challenge lies in navigating the admissions process ethically and effectively, ensuring that all submitted materials accurately represent the applicant's abilities and experiences without misrepresentation. The pressure to stand out in a competitive field can tempt applicants to embellish or fabricate information, which can have serious consequences for their academic and professional future. Careful judgment is required to distinguish between legitimate self-promotion and unethical deception. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves presenting a truthful and authentic portfolio that highlights genuine skills and experiences. This aligns with the American Musical and Dramatic Academy's (AMDA) stated commitment to admitting students who demonstrate potential and a strong work ethic. Submitting a performance reel that accurately reflects current abilities, even if not perfectly polished, demonstrates self-awareness and a commitment to growth, which are valued qualities. This approach respects the integrity of the admissions process and builds a foundation of trust with the institution. It adheres to the implicit ethical guideline of honesty in all application materials, a cornerstone of academic and professional integrity. Incorrect approach is analysis. Submitting a reel that heavily relies on editing to mask significant technical deficiencies, or using footage from a performance where the applicant played a minor, non-singing role while implying a lead vocal performance would be ethically problematic. This misrepresents the applicant's actual capabilities and deceives the admissions committee about their readiness for AMDA rigorous programs. It violates the principle of truthfulness in representation and undermines the fairness of the selection process for other applicants. Presenting a reel that exclusively features performances from many years ago without acknowledging more recent development or lack thereof could also be misleading. While not outright fabrication, it fails to provide a current and relevant assessment of the applicant's skills. This approach suggests an attempt to present a past peak as current ability, which is a form of misrepresentation by omission. Claiming extensive professional experience that did not occur, such as fabricating roles in productions or attributing accomplishments of others to oneself, is a direct act of dishonesty. This not only violates ethical standards, but also potentially exposes the applicant to severe repercussions if discovered, including immediate dismissal from the program and damage to their reputation. Professional reasoning. Aspiring artists must approach the admissions process with honesty and a clear understanding of their current skill set. The decision-making process should prioritize authenticity. Applicants should ask themselves, does this material accurately and truthfully represent my abilities as they stand today? If the answer involves significant embellishment, omission of crucial context, or outright fabrication, the approach is flawed. The focus should always be on showcasing genuine potential and a willingness to learn and grow, rather than creating a false impression of mastery. Question 20. Benchmark analysis indicates that the American Musical and Dramatic Academy (AMDA) entrance essay prompt aims to assess an applicant's self-awareness and their understanding of how their personal journey has shaped their artistic goals, specifically in relation to the training AMDA provides. An applicant has written an essay that vividly describes a significant personal challenge they overcame, detailing their emotional resilience and newfound determination. However, the essay makes only a brief, general mention of how this experience has influenced their desire to pursue a career in the performing arts, without explicitly connecting it to AMDA curriculum or specific training methodologies. Which approach best addresses the underlying intent of the AMDA entrance essay prompt? Option A. Expand the description of the personal challenge to include more dramatic and emotional details, assuming their powerful narrative will inherently impress the admissions committee. Option B. Revise the essay to include a more detailed explanation of how the personal challenge fostered specific artistic skills or insights that align with the training offered at AMDA, and how AMDA unique programs will help them further develop these. Option C. Rewrite the essay to showcase a specific technical performance skill, such as a monologue or song excerpt, demonstrating their talent directly within the written submission. Option D. Focus the essay entirely on a broad statement of passion for all aspects of the performing arts, using the personal challenge as a minor supporting anecdote. The correct answer is B. Revise the essay to include a more detailed explanation of how the personal challenge fostered specific artistic skills or insights that align with the training offered at AMDA, and how AMDA unique programs will help them further develop these. Explanation. Scenario analysis. This scenario presents a common challenge for aspiring artists applying to prestigious institutions like the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, AMDA. The challenge lies in balancing the desire to showcase unique artistic vision and personal narrative with the need to adhere to the specific requirements and expectations of the admissions committee. Misinterpreting or failing to adequately address the prompt can lead to an application that, while perhaps artistically compelling, does not effectively demonstrate the applicant's suitability for AMDA program. The professional challenge is to discern how to be authentic while also being strategically responsive to the institution's goals. Correct approach analysis. The correct approach involves carefully dissecting the prompt to understand AMDA underlying objectives for this essay. It requires applicants to reflect on their personal journey and how it has shaped their artistic aspirations, specifically within the context of the training AMDA offers. This approach demonstrates an understanding of the institution's mission and how the applicant's experiences align with it. By connecting personal growth to the specific skills and artistic development fostered at AMDA, the applicant shows they have done their research and are genuinely interested in the program, not just a generic performing arts education. This thoughtful integration of personal narrative with institutional fit is crucial for a successful application. Incorrect approaches analysis. An approach that focuses solely on a dramatic personal anecdote without clearly linking it to artistic development or the specific training at AMDA fails to meet the prompt's implicit requirement of demonstrating suitability for the institution. This approach risks appearing self-indulgent or irrelevant to the admissions committee's evaluation criteria. An approach that prioritizes a generic statement of passion for the performing arts without delving into specific experiences or how AMDA unique curriculum would contribute to their growth is unlikely to stand out. This approach lacks the personal depth and specific connection to AMDA that the prompt implicitly seeks. An approach that attempts to showcase technical skill through the essay itself, rather than through the portfolio or audition, is a misinterpretation of the essay's purpose. The essay is a narrative tool, not a performance space. This approach misunderstands the function of the written component in the admissions process. Professional reasoning. Aspiring artists must understand that the application process is a form of professional communication. Each component, including the essay, serves a specific purpose in demonstrating not only talent, but also maturity, self-awareness, and an understanding of the professional landscape they wish to enter. When responding to prompts, the key is to identify the underlying intent of the question. For an academic or conservatory application, this often involves demonstrating how one's past experiences and future aspirations align with the institution's specific offerings and philosophy. A successful applicant bridges the gap between their personal journey and the institution's educational mission.